Now, the trait of working hard is an admirable trait to have. So why is it that the hardest working people are not always the most successful?
In this video, you're going to learn how this trait may have inadvertently been holding you and your team back without you even realising it, and you're going to learn how to turn it into a change-making machine.
This is a big obstacle to overcome, both on a personal level and when coaching others who are hardworking. So there's a lot to cover. Let's dive right in.
In this video, you're going to learn how hard work can actually work against you and your team.
We're also going to cover the biggest mistakes that leaders make with hardworking employees. A lot of the time, that can actually lead to the hardworking staff leaving their jobs. This is a mistake even experienced managers make.
And we're going to show you how to spot a critically negative hardworking situation.
We're also going to show you what to do to fix this situation. There's also an added benefit that you'll spot as we get further through this video, but we'll look out for that later.
And the great thing about this, like all coaching processes, is you can use it on yourself as well as your team members.
Over the years, we have been really lucky in that we've been able to work with hundreds of different people from lots of different industries.
That's right, and this has allowed us to see repeatable patterns that it would have been impossible to spot without having access to a huge amount of different businesses, industries and different organisations. And we're going to share these findings with you today.
If you want more tips and techniques on how to improve your communication and leadership skills, go and visit our website at curiouscommunicator.com. To keep updated on our latest videos, go subscribe to Curious Communicator TV. Just click the subscribe button below this video.
What we're going to cover today is a rare piece of knowledge that we only see when we interact with highly skilled and accomplished leaders and managers.
Now, that being said, it's actually a very simple and easy principle to understand. We're going to cover the different ways people attain success, and in particular in relation to the part hard work plays in success. What I mean to say is that many people, without even realising it, use hard work to cover up a lack of skill.
In this quote by Abraham Lincoln, he says, "If I had 6 hours to chop down the tree, I'd spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe." And this is a very clever quote and right on point with the hard work trait that we're talking about today. So both the blunt axe and the sharp axe get the same result. They're going to chop the tree down, but the amount of effort that you would have to put in to chopping the tree down with a blunt axe is significantly higher than the person who's using the sharp axe. And it's very much about working smarter and not harder.
Now, obviously, hard work is a really desirable trait and it should be encouraged. However, it needs to be balanced off with the recognition that the result has been gained through hard work and not through an increase in the level of skill that that person has.
And this is really important because you want to keep people working hard at increasing their skills. And by recognising that they achieved a result through hard work, they know they need to do something different in future.
There's a really good quote from James Garfield that explains this better. If the power to do hard work is not a skill, it is the best possible substitute for it.
And there's another quote about hard work by Henry Ford, and it goes like this: "The harder you work, the luckier you get." So what's the big problem then?
Well, the issue here is that you're not making progress towards solving the problem. You're just working really hard to get around that problem. So going back to our Abe Lincoln quote, all you are doing is putting loads of effort and energy into chopping that tree down with a blunt axe, rather than learning how to sharpen the axe so you can get the same result, chopping the tree down, with just a fraction of the effort and hard work.
In any organisation, when you're getting results, there's always a start point and an end point. Now, with hard work, the people you're coaching might be able to get the end result through pure effort and hard work, but as soon as the focus shifts onto something else, the people you're coaching are going to revert straight back to their previous performance level.
Now, I bet that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Why does this happen, though? Well, too much to do, too little time. So why is it people in your team can deliver the results when your focus is on it, but as soon as that focus is switched to something else, they revert back to their previous performance? Well, the reason is because they don't currently have the decision-making ability or the awareness of the bigger picture to do the right things at the right time to get the result through skill.
And what this means, to simplify it, is people essentially have, for example, this example both myself and Brennan use, people have 50 things to do, but they only have the skill to do 40. So there's always going to be 10 things left over. And what this translates as is they're either going to rush 50 things because they don't have the time to do 50 things properly, which means you get 50 things done badly, or they're just going to not get 10 things done, which means you get part of the job that's not completed to a satisfactory level, or it's not done by the time scale that you gave someone.
Only these 10 things are not always left because people can change the way they get results. And this is something that really clouds the hard work trait. When people are motivated, they will work harder. This can be by putting in extra hours or missing breaks or just working more intensely than they normally would.
And the definition of hard work backs this up. So let's break this down. A great deal of effort or endurance. So breaking this down again, great deal of effort equals an increase in a level of intensity, and a great deal of endurance equals an increase in the time worked.
And by increasing the level of effort and the length of time worked, it leads people, the coach and the coachee, to believe they have reached their goal when actually they have not.
And this is a situation we see quite a lot. Someone works hard to get those extra 10 things done, so they can only do 40 things, but by working hard, they get 50 done, and then their boss sees that they produce the results, they get the results, so they give them even more responsibilities, which means they've got more things to do.
Now, this is really dangerous. Now you have a recipe for someone working really hard to then fail. They have now got 70 things to do, but they can still only do 40. They'll work extremely hard and the reward will be disappointing failure. This is not a good strategy for continued learning, and it can sour the leadership coaching work you do with them.
As a coach, you can overcome this by focusing more on the way someone does the job rather than the results themselves. For example, when you try this, I don't want you to work any longer hours than normal.
And by doing this, you ensure that any improvement is actually from an increase in skill and not just effort. People can still work hard, but this should be done in planning and reflection of the task and not the task itself.
It's important to note here that challenging yourself to take on increased levels of workload and tasks that are more than you're capable of achieving is not a bad thing. In this video so far, we've talked about the negative situations that this can create.
However, you'll be really pleased to hear there is a simple 4-step process that anyone can use that will allow you to take on bigger challenges and more responsibilities without having to worry about how failing could damage your reputation and miss out on opportunities.
Step 1 is get into the habit of observing when you haven't done a task before, because if you haven't done it before, it means you're not going to do it very well. And be realistic with your plan. Whatever plan you make, when you haven't done a task before, the chances are you're going to fail.
Now, step 2. Now that you can see you have 50 things to do, but you can only get 40 done, you're going to have to come up with a plan and then run this plan past someone who is really experienced in that task or that particular project.
Step 3. You're going to want to instinctively not tell your boss or the person in authority that you're close to your limit, because this means you've got to admit that that's the maximum of your ability level. But this is exactly what you need to do. You have to tell your boss your plan and what's happening. The reason for this is because what you're doing, if it fails, can affect them in the bigger picture. And it's important to be someone who does what they say they're going to do. It's also got the side effect of reducing your anxiety levels. If you're worried about, if you haven't told your boss that you're close to your ability level on a particular project, and they get a surprise failure, you're always going to have that at the back of your mind. It's going to make you very anxious about what you're doing. It can affect your decision making. The flip side of that is you take the time to explain to your boss you are at your limit and you are going to try your best, and this is the plan that you have. If it does go wrong, you don't have to worry about explaining the reason why it's gone wrong to your boss, because they'll already know. You've already told them in advance. And this makes you, from a character point of view, it makes you the sort of person that people want to work with, because you do what you say you're going to do. And if you're going to struggle with something, you let people know that is the case. And it's about honesty and integrity.
So step 4, this is where you execute the plan. It's really important to review your own performance here. Was what you delivered what you plan to deliver?
This hard work trait is something you need to be aware of all the time, because when you and your people are going to be promoted into new positions or, given more responsibility, you're going to be proud, you're going to want to do a good job. And the pressure to not go through the 4-step process or even miss one of the steps in the process is very high, because you want to get that result so you can prove that you were the right person for the job. but you always need to follow that 4-step process because it stops you getting in a position where you're relying on hard work to do the job. And you want to focus on getting skills and sharpening that axe, getting the skills right, and not relying on just hard work to get jobs done.
Okay, so one of the biggest things that can go wrong here is that you get a result and then you get praised for getting that result, even though the correct praise should be something like, well done for getting that done, but I want you to work on this next time so you can deliver to the same level but with less effort.
That's right. And a good way of demonstrating this and what we look for in our teams is that hard work should be treated like a KPI, something that you are measuring, and you want it to sit between 60 and 80%. Any lower than 60%, and people are going to get bored in their job. They need more challenges. If people are working above 80% in the long term consistently, it's going to reduce morale, which increases labour turnover, which is absolutely something you want to avoid as a leader because it takes so much time and energy to train people up.
Now, a good way to follow up on how a person is getting results is to ask really specific questions. So, for example, if you were to ask a very general question like, how did you get on with that job? Obviously, they're going to respond by saying, yeah, fine, we did okay, because they don't want to be seen as not being able to do that job.
And that's a really bad example of the sort of questions you should be asking, but it's something we see all the time. A better example, and to give a good example for you, would be to ask something a lot more specific, like, how long did you spend on that task? And you get some really good information back. And you know, if the longer they spent on it, you know they're relying on hard work to do it. And the less time they spend on a task, the more skillful the person is. And if it's a particularly important task, a top tip here is to speak to the other people in the team to see how the results are being achieved, because other people will be honest about how that person's working.
Okay, so that's it for this leadership coaching technique.
We hope this video has helped you develop your coaching awareness. You can build your reputation as a high-performing coach by avoiding the hard work trap so many leaders and managers fall into.
Now, if you've learned some cool stuff on today's video, make sure you subscribe to our channel right now. Just click on the subscription button below this video.
And don't forget to get your copy of our Ultimate Coaching Guide sent directly to your email address immediately. Just click on the link in the description box below. It's full of valuable advice and it's free.
Also, if you want more tips to help you improve your leadership and communication skills, head over to curiouscommunicator.com and sign up to the newsletter. You'll receive exclusive tips and techniques that we do not share anywhere else.
And now it's your turn. Which of today's techniques has been most useful to you? Will you be able to spot if people are relying on hard work to get a result now? Or has the tips in this video helped explain the need for building skill rather than relying on hard work? Either way, let us know by leaving a comment right now.